there and welcome to today's class. Today's class is a yang to yin practice and it's a request video. So the original request was for yoga for restless leg syndrome. And whilst there is no cure, this can be super helpful when you're finding symptoms are flaring up. If you have that sense of inner restlessness, this can hopefully bring a little bit of harmony into your prana, into your chi, into your energy, and hopefully bring a bit of calm into the legs, just getting rid of that sensation of restlessness. So the first half of this session is yang yoga, and the second half is yin. However, if you would like to skip the yang and go straight to yin, say you are about to go to bed and you're feeling tired and you'd just like to do a little bit of yin, then it will be timestamped below when the yin starts. Okay, so we will get started whenever we are feeling ready. And my favorite place to start any yin yang practice is always in child's pose. So we send the hips back towards the heels, the arms out in front, and we rest the forehead down. The knees can be as wide as you need to allow yourself to breathe deeply. And just rest your muscles. Allow the breath to be the only movement within your body here. Observe the expansion and contraction of the back. How the breath fills the shoulders, the width of the diaphragm, the lower back. When you're ready, activate the fingers and press them down into the ground, keeping them about shoulder distance apart. We look forwards and we creep with the heart space forwards, coming all the way up into a lovely open Bhujangasana. So think about moving with your breath here. Inhale, open the heart space to one side. Exhale, center. Inhale, open the heart space to the other side. And then center. Move with your breath, honoring your breath. Mirroring, embodying, however you choose to think of that unison where we match movement and body. Match breath and body rather. Well done. When you're ready, gently lower down with the heart space and creep all the way back to child's pose. Rest the forehead back down and just observe if the back feels any different here. You might bring a little bit of movement side to side with the hips. We creepy crawl the fingertips forwards and thread the left arm underneath the body. Looking out to that right side, breathing deeply. You might take that top arm and open. You might keep that top arm long. If you feel sturdy and stable, you might trace a line with that right leg into a lovely balance. If we are in this lovely balance pose, really think about activating that right leg. Well done. Take it back down. We're swapping sides. Open through the heart space here. You might choose to open even further by gently hooking left arm into inner right hip. If you feel stable, sturdy and balanced, then you might lift left leg. If we do, you decide whether your arm is down or up. It is much more challenging if your arm is up, so be super mindful of your neck. We don't want any weight at all on your neck. We don't want to topple backwards or forwards, so only do this if it's in your practice. Well done. Take that leg down, arms reach out in front. And we look forwards, both arms come out in front, drop the chin to the floor. And if the chin drop feels too intense, you could drop the forehead instead. Breathe deeply. Well done. Gently coming up, slide the hands underneath your shoulders. Open your heart space here, tuck your tailbone down and round through the vertebrae. Look all the way through your thighs. Inhale, shine tailbone all the way up towards the sky, flow through the vertebrae and look forwards. Exhale, tuck your tailbone down, lift abs to back, back to sky, press the ground away with your fingertips and your shins. Inhale, flow. Think of the spine as if it were a bicycle chain and you're just rolling link by link. All the way from the base to the very top of the vertebrae. We flow with our breath. We mirror our breath. In yoga, it can be tempting to make the breath catch up with your movement, but we'd like it to be the other way around. We're constantly observing our breath, and your body moves in time. Your breath sets the pace. This allows us to be present, to marry breath and movement, unifying all these different parts of the self, your awareness, your breath, your body, and in doing so, the mind starts to still. Last one. Well done. Come into a lovely straight back and then step your left foot back, tuck your toes and lean gently back. When we lean back, we'd like to keep the abdominals lifted, tailbone tucked down, shoulder blades down and towards one another. And we're leaning back into that leg so you really feel the stretch down the back of the calf. The foot should feel a gentle stretch, the toes a gentle stretch, but the calf is where we're mostly targeting here. If you feel balanced, right arm sends out in front, left leg lifts and we point that foot. If we feel sturdy here, that leg comes into a lovely deep bend, right arm gently rainbows back and we hook that foot, kicking the foot into the arm and creating this openness through the chest. Inhale deeply here. Well done, release both. Plant your right hand forwards and come forwards with that left foot, planting it on the outside of the left hand. We gently lean forwards. We're in this nice open, wide, low lunge. We're going to thread the left arm all the way up towards the sky. We lean deeply enough into the hips that we feel this lovely stretch through where our jeans pocket would be. Inhale deeply here. Now, if you feel steady and sturdy enough, we press firmly into that front left foot. We windmill the arms and the right arm comes up towards the sky. We'd like to feel a lovely nourishing stretch from the right hip all the way up to the right fingertips. Well done, rainbow back down. And this time we frame that left foot, send the left leg back, child's pose. Remain aware of the sensations in the hips here. And when you're ready, come back up to your tabletop. Inhale deeply, and then we send right leg back. Tuck tailbone, lift abdominals, shoulder blades retract down and towards one another, and we lean back. We're targeting the calf here. Allow yourself to press firmly down through the left shin, and imagine that someone is pulling your right heel all the way back towards the wall behind you. Inhale deeply. We're pressed firmly down through the fingertips. And when you feel ready, we send left arm forwards and right leg lifts if we feel balanced and able to do so. Both hips are shining down towards the floor. When you're ready, bend that leg, rainbow your left arm back and hook that right leg. Keep the hips facing down, keep the chest open and kick that foot into your hand. Long through the spine. Remain deep within the breaths. Well done, and release both. Left hand comes down, right foot places to the outer side of the right hand. We gently lift with that right arm up towards the sky. Inhale deeply. We don't want to be leaning too deeply onto that left hand. We'd like to have this nice even weight distribution between right foot, left hand and left shin. This means that when we then power up into our lovely windmill lunge, we are not going to topple. Inhale deeply here. We feel this lovely deep stretch from the left hip all the way up to the left fingertips. I've realised I've set up my camera in a rather silly position, but your left arm should be reaching towards the sky. Well done. Plant that left hand down. Right arm comes next to it, and this time we tuck that back foot, and rather than sending back into our child's pose, we're going to step both legs up into Uttanasana. Big toes come together, hips lift, and we're going to melt our upper body over our lower body. Now, if you feel short of breath here, create more openness. Maybe press into your shins, go for a straight spine. If you do feel comfortable here, imagine someone hooking your hip creases, lifting your hips with every in-breath. With every out-breath, your upper body pours and falls over the lower body more and more. Inhale length, exhale depth. When we think about inhale length, exhale depth, sort of that movement with every breath in the way that we're bringing openness and then melting into the space that we've created with every breath cycle, we don't have to create these visual changes. From the outside looking in, your pose doesn't have to look any different with every breath, but we should feel that intention of lift and release. Inhale deeply. Well done. Place your hands gently down. We're going to step our feet lovely and wide. You're going just wider than shoulder distance apart with your heels. We gently deepen into our pose and move side to side. So this is our Malasana, but we are lovely and open here. We're not thinking about falling down. We are open with the chest, we're open with the hips, and we are supported. So you might place a block beneath you if you do not feel supported at all. But because we have this element of movement, we're moving with our breath, it doesn't need to be too balanced because we have our hands down, spine long, chest open, and we're thinking about moving into the hips with each breath. You might do exhale side, inhale center, exhale side, or you might move with every breath, maybe exhale to the right, inhale to the left. Make it your own, move intuitively, follow your own breath, your own inner guidance, but don't move too fast. That's the only thing that we would like to avoid here. Think about making it your own. Maybe we lean forwards, opening the hips there. Well done, guys. Last breath here. We're going to lean forwards, lift the hips back up, step back into your downwards dog. In your downwards dog, we'd like to pedal. This is an amazing pose for restless legs. I mean, you can feel all the way through the backs of the legs. You are stretching. I think a moving downwards dog is one of my favorite poses for the end of the day, because not only do you feel the stretch all the way through the toes, through the calves and the hamstrings, but you also get this release up each side the torso if we allow ourselves to begin to sway with the breath. All the way into the shoulders. Just releasing any stress of the day. Well done. Good job, last few breaths here. We lift the left leg towards the sky, and then we step it through into our Ekapada, Padmasana. So we're coming into a nice tall pigeon here. Hips are squared off. If we find that one hip is falling off towards the side, we could prop that left hip up on a bolster, a block. We have a nice active right leg here, so we're not releasing and relaxing. It's strong, it's activated, and we are lifted through the chest. Inhale deeply. If it does feel right for you to intensify, then we could take that back leg into a lovely deep bend. However, this can be a little bit much on many people's knees. I used to find that pose super uncomfortable. However, in time, you'll find your body adapts more and more. Inhale deeply, tuck the back foot, power up back into your downwards dog, back into your movement alongside the breath. When you're feeling ready, the right leg lifts and we power forwards. Well done. Nice and active. There's a flexion in the right foot. The right shin is as parallel to the front of the room as you feel comfortable to draw it. The left leg is active. We are not relaxing too deeply here. It's all very strong, very lifted, very open. Inhale. The hips are squared off. The chest is lifted. And this is our last yang pose before we move into the yin section of this class. So just making the most of that movement with breath. The energy that we've cultivated throughout the body. You might feel a nice flowing prana. You might feel slightly energized, some endorphins going. And then we're going to move more into the Zen portion of our class. So, power up into our downwards dog. But this time, we are still. In our yang downwards dog, we were pedaling, we were swaying, we were moving with our breath, embodying and mirroring the breath. Here, we're thinking less about movement and more about stillness. The body is a vessel in yin. We bring the body into stillness. The breath becomes slower, and in time, the stillness and the slowness begins to bring a little bit more zen, a little bit more yin into the mind, into the energy, into the emotional body. We begin to shift energetically from yang to yin. The upper body supports us here. The fingers are yang, pressing forwards and down. The hips to the fingertips are a little bit more active, but the lower body is completely relaxed. The toes might be very subtly shining a little bit more in than the heels, which shine a little bit more out. The legs are hip distance, we're completely heavy, completely relaxed. Don't worry if your heels do not touch the ground. It's not about aesthetics in yin, it's not about the perfect pose, it's about doing what feels right for your body in that very moment. Okay, when you're ready, we step slowly forwards. Big toes come together if you feel balanced enough. We're taking our forward fold here, but this time, the upper body is the one that relaxes and the lower body keeps you a little bit more engaged, a little bit more still, keeps you in place. Head is heavy, shoulders are relaxed. We're only here as a counter pose. It doesn't have to be perfect. Breathing deeply, releasing through the shoulders. Now, when you're feeling ready, hands come out in front, left leg steps forwards, right leg steps back. We're going to heel toe with that left foot until it perfectly frames the left hand. So there's equal distance with your left hand between your right hand and your left foot. From here, this is your dragon. You have two options. You could stay forward facing or you could come into a twist. If you stay forward facing, you might lower down onto your forearms. If you come into a twist, you might place that left hand on your inner left thigh, opening through the heart space. You could do this whilst lowered or whilst propped up. Make it your own, but don't force your body into anything that doesn't feel right for you. You might find that the inner arch of the foot peels away from the ground and just the knife edge, the little toe to the outer heel, is bearing down. Different days, different poses will feel right. Yin isn't about building on what we do each week. We're not progressing our range of motion or our flexibility. Yin is all about forgetting what we've done before, releasing away from what's to come and just focusing on the present. What feels right for you right now? How can you honor your body? Where is calling out for a deep stretch? Where do we need more prana to flow? Where do we feel stagnant? Where can we lean more into compassion and where can we lean more into discipline? Because we're always looking for that balance of compassion and discipline in yin, it means that we are always naturally progressing our range of motion, but not from a place of forcing or trying necessarily. It just happens naturally, because we're never shying away from our edge. We're never pushing ourselves past our point of comfort, therefore we don't allow ourselves to enter into injury. We never progress too quickly. It's all about allowing your body to deepen in its own time. Finding a pose that feels good. You feel that deep, deep sensation of stretch. Beginning to melt down the fascia, dissipating tension that we hold in the body, releasing stress from the muscles, from the superficial layers of the body and the deep yin tissues of the body. When you're feeling ready, push into your left hand very slowly, and as slowly as you can, we're going to hinge back with the legs. You might even use your left hand to move that leg. The transitions in yin are not pretty, they're not flowing, they're very, very slow, very mindful. Lower yourself down onto your tummy and just rest here. This is your counter pose of just prone lying. Observe the sensations in the hips. Observe the movement of breath. I'm going to move on to the other side. When you're ready, take your time in making your way up. You can move in any transition of your choosing, as long as it's slow and mindful. When you're ready, right hand is perfectly framed by the right foot and left hand, and we lean forwards. Allow your hips to sink forwards in a way that feels right for you. There is no right or wrong in yin, not just in the way there is no perfect aesthetic of the pose, it's all about how the pose feels, but also in the way we're perfectly accepting of however we arrive today. If you're in what we would technically call a bad mood or a good mood, it doesn't matter. If our energy is all over the place or if we're super calm already. If thoughts are going thick and fast, 100 miles per hour, or whether we're feeling rather zen, however we have arrived is absolutely perfect. There is no need to change anything. We don't need to be anything other than exactly as we are. We are just the one watching, the observer of the thoughts, the observer of the body, full of acceptance, just allowing each passing moment to be exactly that, part of your present moment experience, something that just is. It doesn't need to be changed. There is nowhere to be other than exactly where you are. Showing your body the compassion, the love, honoring your body. Often when thoughts feel as though they are demanding a response, if thoughts feel heavy or attached, one way that I deal with this is by telling myself that this is my quality time with myself. This sort of shifts the mindset rather than feeling like you're not allowed to respond, otherwise you're doing yoga improperly. Instead, tell yourself that you don't have to respond. This is your time to be quiet, to be still, to just observe. This is your time where you get to exist without any responsibility to react, to decide, to do anything at all. You get to just be. And I find that shift tends to give me permission to enter into that stillness. But do what works for you. That might not resonate. Another thing that can be helpful is by shifting the awareness away from the mind and into the body. So if you find that when the mind wanders, we maybe cycle into conversation, then simply shifting the awareness back to the physical, maybe observing the face, the muscles of the face, and if they're engaged, the shoulders, soften those down. The target area, allow stillness and relaxation. This simple shift back to the physical can take the attention away from the thoughts. When you're feeling ready, as slowly as you can, send that leg back and lower down onto your tummy again. And just take your lovely prone laying counter pose. It's normal for your mind to wander, especially in the counter poses. In the poses themselves, we often have these intense sensations to keep us present. Like a constant bridge back to our present moment. But in our counter poses, the movement and the sensations are much more subtle. Our next pose allows us to target all of the lower body meridians. However, if it feels too intense to take a full toe tuck, we can absolutely just take child's pose. Follow your body's lead. You might send the shins down and just go for a child's pose. Maybe the arms round back. Or you might tuck the toes and go for a lovely child's pose toe tuck. Listen to your body. There is no right or wrong. The beauty of home practice is it can be exactly what you need it to be. If a pose looks good, we try it. If you think not today, then you do an alternative where you just rest for a moment. No one's watching. If we are having the arms scooped back, it's a good idea to keep the forehead down rather than head turned to the side. Because it is so yin, it's so relaxed, we want to make sure that we are being mindful of the neck. In yin, we're not just working with the meridian body, a system derived from traditional Chinese medicine theory. The notion that life force is carried through your body through these channels that look like the branches of a tree, look like veins. And we're helping these channels become open and clear, healthy and nourished, stimulated, removing away stagnancy. But we're also working with the physical body, removing stress, removing areas of tension, working through any tightness in the fascia. We're working with the deep yin tissues, the ligaments, the tendons, working with the joints. Often when we release down enough, we feel a little release of tension. This can feel like warmth or coolness. It can feel like liquid or movement or the heartbeat, the blood flow. And this often comes after that initial ebbing and flowing of intensity, when we just allow the body to relax down anyway, despite an intense sensation of stretch. And the pose becomes a lot more juicy, a lot more enjoyable. We always want to make sure that we're honouring the body. The sensations we feel should feel like deep stretch. They should never feel like pain, never pinching, never tightness or sharpness. It's always that overall warming sensation. When you're feeling ready, we come gently up, and our next pose is a counter pose and a pose in and of itself. So we're going to send the legs forwards, like so, and we soften down through the feet. So if we were in our yang practice, we'd have active feet. Here we're just allowing them to fall, to be soft and heavy. We melt down over the legs. This pose can look completely different for everyone, and it might look different one week to the next. Sometimes you might find that we need to have a little bit more of a straight back if we have any tension in the lower back. Other times you might feel comfortable to completely forward fold. If we do have a little bit of tension in the calves and in hamstrings, or even the back of the knees, you might find that you need to prop the legs up a little bit. Make the pose your own, listen to your body, soften where you can. The entire posterior chain here is being stretched, hopefully in a rather even way. But if you do feel it excessively in one place, bring in props where you can. If it's excessively behind the knees, prop them up on a rolled up blanket. If it's excessively through the back, maybe we prop up upper body onto a bolster. Maybe you can put it between your legs. Maybe you can lay it down on your legs. Allow yourself to only deepen physically when it feels right for you. We don't have that same length, depth that we do in yang. We simply find our edge, the point in which gravity lowers us down to, and commit to stillness. Your breath does carry you through the poses, but in a different way. When we reach a point of intensity, we draw upon our breath for nourishment, to nourish the part of the body that we're working. We draw upon our breath for a bridge back to present. The breath is always there to connect us to each passing present moment. We draw upon our breath to guide us through in any intensity, not just physical intensity, but also emotional intensity, thoughts that feel intense. There are large shifts that happen in yin. When we tap into specific areas of the body that we hold emotion, we'll feel shifting emotions, waves of emotions, thoughts that feel heavy and attached. And we always have our breath there to carry us through, helping uncomfortable moments become more comfortable as we just take a deep breath and a sigh of relief. Okay, when we're ready, we come up nice and tall. We are going to come into a lovely reclined pose. We have two more poses. We start off by laying the back down to the ground. The hips come wide and the soles of the feet together. If you are in bed, you can lay a pillow down behind you. You can start to get a little bit more wound down if you are literally going to fall asleep after this practice. If not, don't get too comfortable. So we're going to hold the opposing elbow, drop the arms back, and just allow a deepening throughout the inner hips. If the arms being back as well is too intense, draw them down. Our focus today is the legs. So don't worry about intensifying if it feels too much all at once. If it feels impossible to release and let go through the inner hips, if you can feel them shaking or resisting gravity, then you can prop a little block or pillow underneath each upper outer thigh. And this can mean that you are supported enough that you can fully release with gravity, surrender into the pose. And when we allow the physical pose fully, allowing the essence of yin throughout the rest of our being becomes much more easy. Yoga itself in the past has been described in some cultures as a way to prepare the body for meditation. And I like to think of yin as meditation itself. Always present, always aware. When we move slowly. The breath and the sensations of the pose are constantly bringing us back to present each time that the mind wanders away. When we come back to present, we simply refocus our awareness on the breath and the body, how they are together, how they move together, where you feel the breath in your body, how the deep stretch feels. If there's any correlation between the breath that you're taking and the sensations you're feeling, an ebbing and a flowing, an intensity rise and fall, your mind will wander. We draw it back to this time and time again. The more we do this, the stronger that habit becomes. Not only the stronger the habit of observing that the mind has wandered, but also the habit of drawing it back to present. These are different habits and they're both equally challenging. And when we pair them together in a practice like this, and without becoming frustrated on how many times the mind may wander, simply drawing upon them again and again, it becomes much easier to draw upon these habits off the mat too. When you're feeling ready, we're moving into our last pose. We gently heel toe the feet a little bit wider. We draw the knees together. And if we are on the floor next to a bed or a sofa, we can prop the legs up on those. If you're on the bed with a wall or a bed frame next to us, we can pop the wall up on the headboard. Wherever we are, we send our hips to the surface and then we lift the legs up, allowing them to rest all of their weight on our prop. The arms can come wide, the legs completely disengage. Relax your forehead, relax your cheeks, relax your jaw and your tongue. Today's practice was about bringing harmony into the meridian system, into the body, into the yin-yang energies, releasing stagnant energy or built-up energy, bringing balance. Observe if you can feel the effects of this in your arms, in your legs. It might feel like flowing or swaying, movement. If your mind begins to wander, just observe where it's wandered to. Continually bringing your awareness back to the body, back to the breath, back to the two marrying together in unison, back to the sensation of life force drawing through your body. How much movement there is whilst you're laying completely still. Changing up the direction of flow in this last pose is incredibly powerful for releasing away stagnant energy. When you're ready, bring your legs down towards you, sending your legs long. Arms can whatever feels right for you. And we relax the eyes down, relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Allow breath to expand, your chest wide, your diaphragm wide, your belly tall. When you're ready, we roll onto one side, making our way up into a seated position. Namaste.